AITA for laughing for my friend who was cheated on by her boyfriend. Hey, I realize the title is a little strange, but please continue on. So I have this female acquaintance named Jane, fake name. Since high school, we've been close friends. We lived next door to one another and got along very well. In college, I met the woman who would become my ex-fiancée, Anna, a false name. We were together for 4 years. I introduced Anna and Jane to each other, and they became fast friends. I found out 5 months before our wedding that Anna had been cheating on me with her high school crush, and that she had subsequently left me for this person, and I was devastated. The fact that Jane and Anna remained close friends despite all that Anna had put me through came to my attention later. When I informed her how uncomfortable that made me feel, she became enraged, claiming that I had no influence over who she chose to hang around with. That was okay with her since Anna and the other man were in a relationship with each other, and she had fallen out of love with me, she reasoned. We were quickly confronted with the consequences. Last year, I happened to run into Jane, and we quickly rekindled our friendship. We were still friends, but not as close as we had been. She came to my door last week, weeping, and asked if she could remain with me for a short period of time while she looked for work. I gave my okay. After a few hours, she falls down in tears, claiming that she has just discovered that her boyfriend has been cheating on him. I couldn't help but a wry grin and remark, "Well, karma is A," as I walked away. She became enraged and locked herself in one of the spare bedrooms for 2 days, during which time she did not speak to me. My cousin and several of my friends have told me that I was wrong in my reaction, but I'm not sure whether I'm truly the a-hole in this situation. Story 2. Wife cheated on me with mutual friend of her coworker. Wants to stay friends with him. My 28 male, wife 29 female, of 1.5 years. We've been married for almost 9 years, just cheated on me with a coworker. Hold on, there's a lot more to the tale. For the most part, we've had an open relationship for many years on my end, meetups as long as discussed beforehand. Her support has been overwhelming, despite the fact that it was initially difficult for her to accept it. She had plenty of space and time before I planned anything, and it seemed apparent to me that she could do the same if she wanted to, with the help of a dialogue, of course. I was right. However, I have made certain mistakes that I have kept secret for a long time and have just recently disclosed to my wife as a result of my inexperience. After discovering her infidelity, I committed this act. It was earlier in the year that I had gone to counseling and was actively working on a letter to tell her everything, which I eventually ended up reading. But I told her everything one night after her first date, I know, really stupid. Despite the fact that I understand how difficult it must be for her, she has told me that she has forgiven or is working on forgiving me. I am grateful for her honesty in 2 separate situations. It was never brought up that her side of the relationship was closed, and even if she believed it was, we never spoke about it. Several weeks ago, I came upon some exchanges between them on social media that I thought were private. I wasn't paying attention, but I had a sneaking suspicion that something was wrong because of some unusual behavior. I didn't spend any time getting up to speak with her. She was crying and apologizing profusely. She then began talking about polyamory relationships, which was something she was interested in at that point. Fine. Because of this, before I had the opportunity to investigate, read books, which I have since read several times, do online research and so on, she expressed an interest in going on a date with this individual. Although I was clearly unprepared for this and should have put myself first right then and there, I wanted to be accommodating because I was feeling regret for what I had done in the past, and ultimately, all I wanted was for her to be happy. I also felt some pressure from her since she wanted to explore the connection, which is exactly what poly is all about, exploring relationships other than your primary partner's relationship. I am well aware it is not as simple as that. Since then, they've gone out once a week, going on dates and having a number of times. We're all eating lunch together at work today. Messages are sent and received throughout the day. For a while, I was okay with it since I was concentrating on myself and my side of the situation. Twice a week, we had a discussion about how everyone was feeling. My research on poly relationships included reading many self-help books, keeping a daily diary, and listening to podcasts and blogs. For a number of different reasons, I've come to the conclusion that what she's experiencing is an affair. Among the reasons for this are: 1. She cheated on me and disguised it. I made the same mistake when in an open relationship, by not disclosing a meeting. 2. She wanted to keep their friendship. And 3. She never gave me the opportunity to learn and ease into it. Weekends have become something I despise to the point that I wish they didn't exist. No one of my mistakes or relationships has ever gone past a level, strictly, extremely casual, limited communication outside of arranging meetings, and I have had no desire to do so outside of my marriage. I've also had a great deal of remorse for not disclosing a meeting. I vowed to myself that I would never do anything like that again. In the end, I harmed myself horribly and can't believe I was ever that person. In order to work on ourselves individually while simultaneously putting the relationship on hold, we've been speaking on a regular basis, going to therapist appointments and so on. My misgivings regarding my capacity to sustain the connection, despite my overwhelming desire to do so, if they keep their friendship have simply gotten too large. I do not want to tell her who she can and cannot talk to or be friends with, and I do not want to tell her who she can and cannot speak to or be friends with. We've been considering the prospect of breaking up, for reasons other than this other person, for reasons other than this other individual. Given that I know for a fact that both sides are actively attempting to settle the matter, I'm not sure whether she actually wants to be with me. Plenty of talk about wanting her own place to ponder, lots of talk of needing her own space to think. Apparently, the last time they got together, which was just a couple of weeks ago, she told him that she no longer wanted anything and that they had no intercourse, and I believe her as everything was open and honest. She was also home much sooner than scheduled. She was also home much earlier than planned. Throughout this process, she has also made it obvious to the other guy and myself, I have spoken with him, that this is not a long-term relationship, and that neither of them wants a genuine one-on-one connection with the other. Remember, we were taking this from a poly angle for over a month now. For as long as this other person is present in her life, she will be unable to be honest with herself or me. If that's what she's up to, how can she pretend she wants to work on us in the first place? She has revealed her affections for him, and she has signaled her interest in him, but I am unable to speak for her totally at this point. Prior to this, she had never given me a reason to distrust her in the 9 years that had gone. Please accept my apologies if any of this looks a little unclear. Despite the fact that this has been going on for around 2 months, I am just now coming to these conclusions, and I have no idea how to approach the situation, much less deal with it. We have a house, a kid, pets, and other possessions. Despite the fact that we have such a strong connection and a deep soulmate love for one another, I do not believe that our relationship will endure if she tells him all that has happened. A polyamorous relationship is something I am really open to, but not with this individual because of the way it started and the fact that I was not even informed that it was going to happen. I just don't know how to explain my feelings without presenting her with an ultimatum, especially because I think she is aware of how uncomfortable I am feeling in the situation. I've just never had the chance to sit down with her and discuss this issue in detail and in depth with her before. Help. If all you have is go, don't bother, because I understand and believe me when I say that you are feeling the same way. But I'm well aware that there is a great deal of affection between us and that it will never fade. It is not as simple as just leaving. Every piece of advice, even if it's simply a complimentary comment, would be much welcomed. Thanks.